A government wanted fewer cobras. A few years later, it had more cobras than ever before. Not because the plan failed, because it worked exactly as designed. This is the Cobra effect. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a solution the same way again. Picture British colonial India, late 1800s. Delhi. The streets were dangerous, not from crime, not from war, from snakes. Cobras were everywhere. In the markets where families bought food, in the alleys children played in, along the roads people walked every single morning. They were not rare, they were not occasional, they were constant. People were bitten, people died. Entire neighborhoods lived in quiet fear of what might be coiled in the shadows. The British colonial government needed to act, so they called a meeting. They reviewed the problem, and they arrived at what everyone agreed was a clean, logical solution: a bounty. For every dead cobra a citizen brought in, the government would pay a cash reward. Simple. Bring a dead cobra, get paid. The logic was airtight. Citizens needed money. Cobras needed to go. The bounty connected those two facts into one action. Hunt cobras, earn money, city becomes safer. On paper, it was perfect. In reality, it was the beginning of a disaster nobody saw coming. At first it worked. Dead cobras arrived at government offices within days, then dozens, then hundreds. The numbers climbed every week. Officials watched the figures rise with quiet satisfaction. The program was working. Measurable, undeniable results. But something was changing beneath the surface, something the numbers could not see. Because here is what nobody in that meeting room had considered. Human beings are not just responsive to incentives, they are creative in response to incentives. When a reward appears, people do not simply follow it. They find the edges of it. They ask, what is actually being measured here? And then they optimize for exactly that, regardless of what the reward was meant to achieve. Somebody in Delhi figured it out. The government was not paying for a city with fewer cobras. It was paying for dead cobras. Those are two completely different things. A wild cobra, hunted and killed, produces one dead cobra, one payment. But a cobra, bred in captivity, raised in a cage, then killed and presented to the government, that produced the same payment, with far less effort, far less risk, at a scale hunting could never match. The math was obvious once you saw it. Why search dangerous terrain for wild snakes when you could simply build a farm? So they did. Cobra farms appeared across Delhi, hidden in homes, built in back rooms and courtyards. Citizens were no longer hunting snakes. They were raising them, breeding them, cultivating the exact animal the government was paying to eliminate. An entire shadow industry had been born, funded entirely by the colonial government's reward program. Dead cobras kept arriving at the office. Officials reviewed the numbers and nodded. The plan was working. They never asked where all the snakes were coming from. Eventually, the administration started asking the right questions. If we have collected thousands of dead cobras, why are there still so many in the streets? They investigated. What they found ended the program instantly. The citizens were not hunters, they were farmers, and the government had been their most loyal customer. The bounty was canceled immediately, and the farmers, now holding hundreds of cobras that cost money to feed and served no purpose, made the only rational decision left. They opened the cages. Every cobra bred in captivity to supply the reward program was released back into the city. Delhi, which had a cobra problem when this began, now had a catastrophically worse cobra problem than at any point before the government ever intervened. The solution had not just failed, it had multiplied the original disaster. This is the Cobra effect. When a solution to a problem accidentally makes that problem significantly worse because the reward is gamed in ways the designers never anticipated. It sounds like a historical curiosity, a quirky colonial blunder, but it is not old, it is not rare. It is happening right now in the systems around you. Schools measured by test scores produce students who are skilled at tests and underprepared for everything else. Hospitals measured by discharge speed send patients home before they have healed. Companies measured by output metrics produce bloated results that look productive and deliver very little. The economist Charles Goodhart observed this across decades of study. He called it simply, when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. The moment a number becomes the goal, people stop pursuing what the number represents. They pursue the number, and the gap between the measurement and the reality grows until the measurement means nothing at all. The reward was the cobra.